UFM Business Hour, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m. Only on UFM.
You know, it is Thursday, and generally what you know us on Thursdays for is tourism, hospitality, and the like. We're switching it up. It's a new year, things change every day. Yesterday, things were different. You know, presidents come out, they do other things, and which we shall not mention here right now. But there's so much that can change in any given moment, and that is just the nature of the global ecosystem. More so for you as a small business owner. You know, I was just in Durban now at a supplier roadshow, and just realizing that doesn't matter where you are in South Africa, we've got similar problems everywhere. Like we've got problems around access to finance, access to markets, and issues with compliance and capacity. A lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners that are dealing with multinationals and corporates in general are just really struggling with capacity to meet that next trench or that next level of doing business with them. Anyway, welcome to the UFM Business Hour. Today we're not only behind the mic, we're also behind the camera. And you know, I get so shy behind the camera, but I'm going to try and do my best. And we've got a very special guest in studio today. We're starting an interesting series, and we want to see where it goes. You know, with this show, we get to tinker around and play around with a lot. We call it an ESD series, and it's about talking about and getting a focus from on the small business sector from the people who make decisions in corporate about where budgets go, and reports that come out, research reports, and all sorts of things. You know, so I'll be introducing our guest. I'm super excited to be having him. But you know, before we get into that, you know, we've got our origin series, but we decided to put a twist to it today. What we are really trying to share with our Did You Know today is that, you know, are you aware that SMEs contribute about 60% to employment in this country, and about 40% to the GDP of this country? That's how important the small business economy is. Like, it is the lifeblood of this economy, and it's something to be taken serious. And therefore, I want to urge you that, you know, you must just take a moment and breathe. Just remember that what you do actually matters. The people that you employ, they count towards reduction of unemployment in South Africa. They count towards ensuring that there's poverty eradication and inequality is removed. These are some of the big social ills that continue to haunt us in a country like this, and we're trying to make sure that that is sorted. Well, you know, as much as we can give you those stats, according to the Absa's latest Small Business Growth Index, over 70% of these businesses are urgently going to need finance this year alone, right? And you know, we know that there's so many problems that exist out there, but we'll be touching on that when we get into the interview. We'll be back just after this. 11 minutes past the hour 6, and you know, we've got an amazing guest in studio. Now, my guest for this evening focuses on SME business and comes from the banking sector, the money people. So we decided, let's have a conversation with people that matter. And you know, our guest for this evening is Vinesh Subramani. He's the interim managing executive for SME business at Absa Business Banking. He brings over 20 years of experience in the game, and you know, you're at Absa now. How are things there? Like, how's banking for you?
Lebo, thanks so much for having us, and thanks for having me. It's really great to be here, and good evening, and a warm greetings to all of your listeners, all of our listeners tonight. It's really great for us to be here. Yeah, Absa is, as you know, the bank of the entrepreneur. We have a keen interest on SMEs. We've really started creating keen interest and keen focus within SMEs, not just now, but for a number of years now, because we know that it is a part of our economy and part of our country that needs so much support and so much investment, and so the journey at Absa has been very rewarding for me personally, and just building this focus around SME business.
I mean, you've been working in the space for quite a while. What drew you to this sector, and more so SMEs?
You mentioned it right at the beginning. You know, if there's one part of our economy that is going to really help us get to where we need to be as a country. You know, whether that be in terms of GDP, whether that be in terms of unemployment or employment for that matter, and really just social upliftment overall. It's going to come from SMEs. A big proportion of our workforce are employed by SMEs, right? And so the more we are able to invest our time and our efforts into SMEs and SME support and SME development, SME financing, talk about this ease of doing business, enabling them to do business more easily, the better for the country as a whole.
And you guys as the bank of the entrepreneur, and I'm assuming this is a theme for
Absa.
Yeah. Now, you guys have the small business growth index that came out, right? We're just really trying to understand what are some of the themes that you've picked up out there, and how do they impact the small business sector?
Thanks, Lewis. So I think a little bit of context to the index is helpful. So, as Absa, we felt that there was a gap in the industry, at an industry level. We felt that there is no real-time indicator that tells us a few things, that tells us what SMEs are going through. What is the environment like? What are their confidence levels like? What is their outlook for the future like? And when you have, we're also a data-led organization. We want to make decisions based on data. And so last year, when we were looking at this, we said, let's partner with the South African Chamber of Commerce, as well as the Bureau of Market Research. And these are two very well-established organizations as well, because we believe in the power of partnerships. We said, how do we get them on? How do we partner effectively to develop what we know today as the Small Business Growth Index, which is an index that tells us those exact things. And the more insight you have into this, the better you can solution for SMEs, the better you can prepare for what they want, going into the future, and the better you can help them navigate some of the challenges that they're facing within the environment. And so last year we had introduced the Small Business Growth Index for the first time. We publish it twice a year. So we go through two waves, one in the beginning of the year, one towards the end of the year. We collect information, and look, people like the Bureau of Market Research are experts at this. I mean, they are research experts, right? And so we really leverage their expertise. We go out and we collect data, we come back, and then we develop the index and say, what is the index telling us? And so we did that last year. We published the first report around Q1, going into Q2, and then we published the second report at the end of the year, around November. And what we saw was quite interesting, is that when we think about this business confidence, or the confidence of SMEs, in the beginning of last year, the confidence levels were lower. By the end of last year, we saw that the confidence levels had already improved. But at the same time, they were also cautiously optimistic about 2026. So they were like, we're feeling more confident, but at the same time, we're still cautious about the decisions we need to make. So it's not this extreme confidence going into this. The SMEs are still cautiously optimistic. But the great thing about it is that we're starting to build trends. Because we publish the report and the index twice a year, which we'll also be doing this year, you start to build proper trends and proper insights into what SMEs are going through. So that's a little bit of what the index is, how it came to life, and why it is it's an industry contribution from Absa. This is information that all of the role players in the industry can use, from financial institutions to policymakers to stakeholders. And so it's really, in a way, it's a first of its kind, but also in a way our contribution to helping the SME industry as a whole.
How is it received by industry?
Extremely well, really, really well. We had done, I mean, just like this, we had gone on quite a big awareness campaign in the beginning of the year. It was extremely well received across all social media platforms, online platforms, in terms of just the sheer interest that we have seen from all of the key stakeholders within the industry. And not just policymakers or government or financial institutions, etc., but also SMEs themselves, because they were looking at the index and saying, well, there's insights here for me as well. And so it's been extremely well received. So we're looking forward to the 2026 iterations, of the index, really, so that we can start to build some really good insights.
What did you find to be scary with what came out from the index?
So there's definitely an element of the index where there's a fair proportion of SMEs that are saying they need assistance if they're going to survive.
Yes.
We've seen some really good green shoots in the economy. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
Well, at least until a couple of weeks ago, the fuel prices were at an all-time low, right? Interest rates are at an all-time low. Load shedding, we've had about 200 plus days of no load shedding, right? All of these things are pain points for SMEs.
Yeah.
And so whilst we saw that there are these green shoots in the economy, what the index was telling us was that, and maybe that's contributing to the confidence of SMEs, right? That being said, they're still saying, I still need assistance in order to survive, in order to be able to continue the next year. You mentioned the interesting stat where you said almost 70%, I think it is, of SMEs are saying, I'm going to need funding in the first 6 months of this year. That is significant, right? But over and above funding, it's also, as financial institutions and organizations, we have a responsibility that despite the green shoots, you still need to support. You can't assume and take it for granted that SMEs are going to flourish this year and sit back. You still have a responsibility to support them, both financially as well as non-financially.
Being funding ready as well is something else for a lot of SMEs, because people are not managing their accounts the right way, and they wonder why they get rejected so much as well. And I'd like to touch on that when we come back from the break. We'll be taking a short break, and we'll continue the conversation. Baholo, welcome back to the UFM Business Hour. Again, and we're having a really interesting conversation with Vinesh from Absa. And I think a big theme that I just keep picking up, even when we speak to finance professionals and guys in the banking environment, is that the need is identified. It's quite huge, and we're trying to figure out how do we bridge that gap. And having an index like this and them sharing insights helps inform the types of decisions that you can take as well, to make yourself ready, because there is no shortage of capital in the marketplace, but businesses that are ready for that type of intervention, there's always a gap that we need to fix. Now, Vinesh, just coming back to the index, and before we transition into our next conversation, I just want to really understand, a lot of the time, you will hear it everywhere in media. Politicians use it as a slogan. Entrepreneurs need access to markets. They need access to funding. There's this constant barrage. But you guys are data-led. What are the gaps?
So one of the big things is, in terms of being able to secure funding, is one of the really important aspects is to have some level of track record.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that a business has to be in existence for a long time. We fund startup businesses as well. We, as SME at Absa, our portfolio or segment of clients that we look after and entrepreneurs that we serve are anything from startup businesses that don't have a turnover yet, right up to businesses that do a turnover of up to 50 million rand per annum. These are the entrepreneurs that we serve at Absa, SME. What we do find is that, especially with the businesses that have sort of, they're in the micro segment or the small segment. I'm talking about businesses that are doing turnovers of less than 5 million rand as an example. One of the really important things to have is some level of track record. When you're starting out, yes, your business plan gives us an indication of your outlook, your cash flows, your what you're planning on doing. But for as long as you have started something and you're running it, track record becomes really, really important. Because a lot of what I see when engaging with entrepreneurs, particularly those that really need funding, there are a few things that they already have a perspective on or perception on. It's like, I'm going to try and solve for this myself. I'm actually not even going to bother asking for help, because I feel like I should do this on my own, right? So that's the one thing, and we've got to do a lot of work to demystify.
Don't you think it's also because they disqualify themselves for fear of rejection?
That's the thing, right? So it's, you almost got to demystify this thing, especially in South Africa, to say, actually, take the step and go and speak to somebody about, how to get funding. And you'll find that those that have established some level of a track record, some level of background in terms of a bank account, how they've been using it, etc., already just by virtue of that, you stand a better chance to qualify for funding because you have some level of data that we can start looking at.
Yeah.
So the first thing would be, let's demystify this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is automatically disqualified.
Yeah.
Go and have the conversation
Yeah.
to establish what it is that banks look at and financial institutions look at. I'll use a classic example. You mentioned you were in KZN recently. I was in Kwadukuza,
Okay.
and I was speaking to an entrepreneur, and she's built a great business, and she's done everything on her own, right? And SME
Yeah.
doesn't have any funding at all, right? And I asked her, I said, it feels to me like you're trying to do everything on your own.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't have to. You know, there is support out there. All you've got to do is ask.
Yeah.
So put this fear of rejection thing away. Just be bold enough to say, how do I go about getting this, and start having that conversation. I think is the first step. For more established businesses, as you progress, is it important to have financial statements? Absolutely. You spoke about compliance, right? You've got to have that record keeping in place so that you can start showing, you know, how you're doing financially, etc. Is it always a requirement? Not necessarily. There are instances where you can get funding just based on how you conduct your account.
Yeah.
And so again, account conduct is an important thing.
Yeah.
You know, make sure that when you need to pay somebody, pay them.
Yeah.
When debit order needs to go off, you know, there's sufficient, because all of these things add up in the way banks evaluate and financial institutions evaluate your asks. So I do think that those are some of the gaps. I often tell people, you know, when you think about funding, I use this analogy around the 4 legs of a tiger.
Yes.
So if you think about 4 legs of a tiger, there are 4 things that banks predominantly look at. One is management. So does Lebu have the expertise to do the thing that he wants to do?
Yeah.
Right. The other one is the environment. Is the business that Lebu is in conducive, or is the environment conducive to the business?
Yeah.
The third one is track record, financials, you know, things that, you know, they've done over a certain period. The last one is collateral. In South Africa, we have this myth that we think if I don't have collateral, I'm out. That's not true. Now, the philosophy of the 4 legs of a tiger is that a tiger can stand on 3 legs, but it cannot stand on 2, right?
Yes.
So even if you take one of these elements away, the other 3 must be strong enough to carry you.
Yeah.
So even if you take collateral out of the conversation, is management strong enough? Are the financials strong enough? Is the environment conducive?
Yeah.
Or if, for example, you have, so this tiger can stand on 3 legs, but not on 2, right?
Yes.
So, but those 4 things are really, really important. But just because one of them is missing, does not automatically disqualify you. And I think it's important for people to realize how we look at it, and creating transparency around this is important.
Yeah.
So that you start to demystify what people's beliefs are in terms of SME financing.
Yeah. And I think I'm finding it that even the conduct of the director at a personal level is always so important.
Absolutely.
And de-risking that is a critical factor.
Yeah, that's such an important point, because we do, you're so right, Lebu, we do look at the business, but we also look at that management element that I spoke about.
Yes.
And we're looking at the person driving this business and saying, you know, what is their track record like as well? So that's so important.
Yeah. All right. Now let's segue into corporate partnerships. You know, you guys announced a huge partnership deal last year for 1.2 billion with Heineken, and I'm assuming this focuses on the agricultural sector as well as, of course, the sector that Heineken operates in. Do you want to talk a bit about what is happening in that space?
So latching onto the point earlier around the power of partnerships, you know, we can't do this thing on our own, right?
Yeah.
We have some great relationships with some really big corporates, and these corporates have value chains, and guess who is servicing those value chains? It's SMEs.
Yeah.
Right. So the Heineken partnership was a really great, what we call an ecosystem play.
Yeah.
So Heineken operates within an ecosystem, and within this ecosystem there are so many moving parts.
Yeah.
Well, a big part of that ecosystem are SMEs that are part of the value chain and the supply chain of Heineken.
Yeah.
And so we had partnered with them last year, in putting together effectively an initiative which comprises a 1.2 billion rand fund.
Yeah.
And so what it does, it include a 600 million in enterprise development and supplier development funding, as well as 600 million in co-lending.
Yeah.
It's a 5-year program.
Yeah.
How it works is that there are 2 elements to it. There's a supply development fund, as well as a growth and localization fund. It is targeted at 51% black-owned, as well as female black-owned businesses.
Let's quickly pay the bills, and we'll be back to unpack more on that. Welcome back to the UFM Business Hour. And we've got our guest in studio, and we're going to continue the conversation. Vinesh, you were just telling us about the enterprise and supply development opportunities from this deal and the scale of it, the fact that it's a 1.2 billion rand deal. Let's talk a bit about the value chain. I mean, I know with organizations like Heineken, there's probably a large part that focuses on agro-processing or agriculture and logistics. Is there still opportunities, like when a deal like this gets announced, does it mean like the people that must benefit are already taken, or is it an ongoing opportunity where different types of SMEs can benefit and they just need to find the right information? It's
a really, really good question. It's a really important question. So how the fund is structured is that it does focus on SMEs that are already within Heineken's value chain.
Yeah.
So Heineken goes through a process of selecting those SMEs based on, like I mentioned, this is a enterprise and supply development focused program. So the entities have got to be at least 51% black owned, and they must already be in the value chain of Heineken beverages, but across the entire full Heineken beverages value chain. So it's not one particular part of their business, it's their entire value chain. They obviously have a very big business. Individuals or sole proprietors are not eligible, so you've got to be in the value chain already. It does run over 5 years, so obviously we want to make sure that there's impact, right? You don't want to run it for a limited period of time, and a 5-year horizon is a great one, because that means that even as suppliers or service providers become part of the value chain in the course of the 5 years, you have an opportunity to benefit from the funding as well. Loan funding at favorable terms. It's not a grant, it's not equity funding. Also, as Absa, what we do is that we administer the fund. So we also play a big role in administering the actual corporate fund as well. So that's how it works. And then obviously Heineken does go through it. But if there are any questions on this, what I would like to invite viewers to do is, we have a dedicated mailbox for this. It is the Absa Heineken partnership at absa.africa. So please do, it is our mailbox. So again, Absa Heineken partnership at absa.africa. So if there's any questions, if you want to find out more about it, even if, for example, you're not in the value chain already and you're thinking about getting into it, etc.
It gives you a guideline.
Give us a shot and hopefully we can point you in the right direction.
No, that's good. Now, segueing into a different space, franchising. You guys are quite big in that space, and you've done partnerships again, even at that level. What does that look like for anybody who's in franchising and those that are trying to get into the space? Like,
so we have we're a sector, deep sector expertise bank. So we have sector specialists that focus on the different sectors within industry. Wholesale, retail and franchise is one of those sectors. But to name a few of these sectors, just so that your listeners also know where else we have this expertise. So transport and logistics is a big one. In fact, I was speaking at a transport and logistics thought leadership event before coming here. So we have a big focus on transport and logistics, a big industry in the country. Manufacturing is another key sector for us, a big one. The other is renewable energy, and now also going into water. In fact, one of the outcomes of the index is also that although the load shedding story seems to have improved, entrepreneurs are now starting to think about water. They're like, we've got to start preparing for the water shortage
There's a
implications.
pattern we're seeing.
Right. And so these are sectors. And the other one is wholesale, retail, and franchise, where also you spoke about tourism earlier.
Yes.
We're also, have sector expertise in the tourism, but wholesale, retail, franchise is a key one for us. So we have sector specialists that effectively, and we have dedicated bankers as well.
Yeah.
So as Absa SME, we have 400 bankers nationally and relationship managers. Within them, we have dedicated bankers that are dedicated to a sector like wholesale, retail, and franchise. Really, so that anybody that's thinking of venturing into it, or even if they're already in that sector and they're thinking about opening up another store or looking at cash flow options, looking at financing, we have sector specialists that can come sit with you and say, well, if you're thinking of starting a franchise, this is what you got to be thinking about. Which franchise are you thinking about? What are their conditions? How do you need to show up? What is your contribution need to be? How can we support? What are the preferential pricing that we have in place? Because a franchise is not priced the same way a normal business is. We have special pricing, discounted pricing, etc. So we have a big sector focus. And I guess my invitation to people is, if you're looking for insights into particular industries and particular sectors, whether you're thinking of getting into it or whether you're already in it, call on us for that sector expertise, so that we can guide you. I was saying it earlier today on the transport and logistics one. Rapidly changing environment, infrastructure challenges, cost challenges, cash flow cycle planning becomes really, really crucial. And so our sector expertise helps you in terms of kind of trying to see how you mitigate those risks and look forward. So sector focus is a big one for us.
I just keep wanting to go back to this, because last night, funny enough, I was running a workshop for academics, senior academics, professors, doctors, and they're about to transition. So it's a retirement program from one of the universities, and they, instead of taking retirement, it's like, okay, I need to do something, because life is long. There was a big question around franchising. Like, people feel like it's a safer option, but they feel like it's going to take, because you have to put in that unencumbered cash into this, and just feel like it's going to take a huge chunk of my retirement money. What guarantees do I have? Like, how would you respond to somebody like that? I found myself actually quite challenged in answering that question.
We definitely see that trend. We definitely see people diversifying their portfolio. So even people that are not necessarily retiring, actually, very successful in their field of expertise, but they're like, I need to diversify a bit now. And franchising seems to be a great option for them, because it comes with a certain level of certainty, success, etc. It's different for different franchises. I think that's what's important to note. No two franchises are the same. But again, it's about sitting down and understanding the ins and outs of those particular franchises, right? And then saying, well, which one makes the most sense for me? Does it require a certain level of contribution from the owners? Absolutely. Franchisors are also wanting franchisees to be vested in that venture. And the moment you're personally vested with your own finances, you're gonna, guess what? You're gonna go all out to make it succeed, right? And so you're gonna commit, right? So there is definitely that element. But again, wholesale, retail, and franchise sector specialists are available to evaluate the particular franchise you're thinking about, and give you the best advice on how to go about it.
Baholo, if you tuned in, it is the UFM Business Hour. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back, and then we'll get into something that really excites me: digitization, e-commerce, AI. What's going on out there? Vinesh will be unpacking it for us. Baholo, welcome back to the UFM Business Hour. Again, and we are here with Vinesh Subramani. He's head of SME business banking at Absa, and it's been a lovely conversation. And I was told to project my voice, and it's such an important conversation because it helps us as small business owners and ecosystem players to understand the pressure points and the areas of focus that corporates, especially in the finance environment and banking, are focusing on. Why? Because there's three key things that we all need to constantly have our eye on. Is cash flow, it's our compliance, as well as customers. And I think for some, they focus all of their energies on finding customers and not taking care of their cash flow. And by the time you need capacity to fulfill certain things, you just don't qualify because you haven't been managing things in the right way. Now we're going to segue into something quite interesting. Vinesh, you're quite vocal when it comes to digitization of SMEs. What have you seen? Like, why this huge drive?
We live in the age of digital transformation, right, and AI. Whatever business you're in, if you're not thinking about digital, you need to start thinking about it. The thinking behind it is the way in which you take distance away from a customer. To be where your customer is all the time is to be digital, right? Coming back to the index, it told us something quite interesting. It said that businesses that are operating locally want to go provincial. Businesses that are operating provincially want to go national. And businesses that are operating on a national scale are now looking into Africa. We are a Pan-African organization, and we have representation, in key countries across the continent, right? But and obviously we can assist with that as well. But about 67% of the businesses in the index said, "I'm going to go online. I'm going to take my business online. I'm thinking of putting my business online and going digital." So it's so crucial. But it's not just being able to go online and show people what you do and show people your products. There's a very important aspect you've got to think about is, how do I accept payments from my customer? So it's one thing for Lebo to come and see what I offer and say, "I like that and I like that." And it's one thing for him to select it. But if that cash is not hitting my account as soon as possible, I have a cash flow impact, right? So it's okay, Lebo can come and collect the product at a certain later stage, or I can get it to him at a later stage, but I need to be able to accept payments so that it helps me with my overall cash flow position. So it's not just only about going digital, but having the e-commerce capability to be able to accept payments. And that's where Absa ShopRed comes into play. We have put the power in the hands of the entrepreneur. We say, within minutes, you can set up an online store, have images of what it is that you sell, whether it's a product or a service, etc. But the most powerful thing is now you have the ability to accept payments from customers for procuring your services. So going digital is really crucial.
It's quite exciting hearing that there's an appetite for going digital for a lot of business owners. I'm actually quite curious of the age groups of this. Something that I'm finding in the marketplace is that people are interested in doing things, but they struggle with the execution or actually getting around to doing what is going to help them. Why do you think that is?
I do think it's a lack of awareness as well. If I was to set up a few years ago, if you wanted to set up an online presence, it was a process. It wasn't the easiest thing. Today, with the advancement in technology, you can set up online presence in minutes, and you can start accepting payments in minutes. People can start knowing about your services and your offerings in minutes. I mean, let me paint a scenario for you. So you have a business, you sell a particular product, and you go online, you go to Absa ShopRed, you create your online presence. You get a dedicated link, which effectively routes customers to your online presence. There's nothing that stops you from sharing that link amongst the communities that you operate in. Now you're creating marketing without having spent anything on marketing, right? Whereas SMEs in the past, because they don't have the luxury of a marketing budget, you don't even start doing that, right? And they look at marketplaces and things like that. But today, you have the ability to create this presence very, very quickly and share it very broadly to start creating flow towards your business. You spoke about access to markets. This is a classic example of creating access to markets, because we talk about it, but how are you really creating access to markets? This is a great way to do it.
And that's the reason why you guys created the platform, is to enable the process to take place.
Correct. And ShopRite has a lot of benefits, things like stock management, you know, this ability to accept payments. There's so many, you know, modules within it. But in a nutshell, at least at the moment, very simple, easy to set up e-commerce solution to get your business out there.
I mean, you know, Vinesh, when you talk like this, there's a huge focus as a country and corporates and media about the township economy. This is a 900 billion rand economy and all of these stats that fly out there. But when you look at the guy on the ground, when I see their thinking around what does going digital actually mean, this is somebody who's communicating on WhatsApp majority of the time with their customers, and this is like their operating environment. How do we think about helping them break through to that next layer? There's AI, where you can create a site in minutes, like on all of these beautiful things that you are mentioning. From the report and just from a culture perspective, what is the mindset shift that is actually taking place that you're picking up through the insights that you guys have gone through?
Particularly in townships, you know, one thing I've seen, and I'm talking from personal experience, is some of the most innovation, most creative entrepreneurs, people that make a plan. You know, South African entrepreneurs they're resilient by their nature. They're also very creative and resourceful by their nature. Right. You cannot run a business in this environment without having a special set of skills. Right. And it's true, right? And South African entrepreneurs, by our nature, we're very, very resourceful, and you see that flourishing within township economies. But I guess the thing is, there's this big need of shift towards formalization. You know what we find is people often I'm talking from experience, is probably operate their business or their side hustle or, you know, the thing that they're doing, but they operate it through their personal account. You should set up a business account and put the business's cash flows through that business account. You start formalizing it. If you need any licensing to be in place, I'll use a classic example. Last year we had an initiative around liquor traders within township economies, and we actually supported them to get their compliance in order in terms of the licenses, etc., that they needed. So there's this element around formalizing your business, making it compliant, so that you have a better chance of also getting access to finance in the future.
And realizing that compliance is actually access more than anything. I love that point. Bakholo, we'll be back just after this. Bakholo, welcome back to the UFM Business Hour. Again, and we are here with our guest, Vinesh Subramani, and he's the head of SME business at Absa. And it's been such an important conversation that we've been having. Now, you know, as we head towards our close, we really just want to understand, for the small business community, Absa is a giant, it's all over Africa. What programs exist currently that I'm listening, I'm in my Heineken, like, okay, it seems like Absa is interesting, but I see that the Heineken one is for suppliers. What can I participate in? What is the opportunity for me listening in right now?
So we're doing a lot of great stuff, Lebo, as we've gotten into the detail, you know, in the session. But there are a few things that I want to highlight. So definitely, there's a big move towards digitization. So, you know, gone are the days when you need to visit an Absa branch to open up a business account. You can do this now entirely digitally on absa.co.za. The entire process is digital. You know, within about 20 to 30 minutes, you can walk away, have your account, and start your business and start operating. I've already spoken about the key focus we have within wholesale, retail, and franchise. You know, from an enterprise development point of view, we've spoken about the programs that we're in, and we're looking to, you know, to more ecosystems in terms of how do we create more scale. You know, from that front. In terms of digitization, again, online presence, ShopRite, a key crucial capability. Please do check it out. ShopRite at Absa, and all of this comes together. And you know, we have won the award by Euro Money as SA's best bank for SMEs now 2 years in a row. We're going to continue, you know, building on our innovations to help small businesses in South Africa, and we really just want to invite everybody to use and leverage our expertise. We also, as I mentioned, we have sector specialists. We have 400 bankers nationally. My ask is, any financial decisions that you're going to make,
Yeah.
whether you're with us or not,
Yeah.
reach out to our bankers, reach out to our specialists, and so that we can guide you on that process.
Yeah.
Before you rush into trying to do things on your own.
Yeah.
That would be my call to action to all entrepreneurs in the country.
Yeah.
But this has been a great opportunity. Thanks so much, Lebo.
No, we absolutely appreciate you joining us. And with the growth index, I'm an SME. I want to read this. Where do I get the report?
The growth index is available online,
Yeah.
so we'll share the details as well. But it is if you look for Absa Small Business Growth Index,
Yeah.
the report is published quite widely digitally, and you've got access to it.
Yeah. No, it's been quite a session, and he said a mouthful. There's so many insights that have been shared from here. I think do look out for the growth index report. 2 came out last year. They come out twice a year, and I think it's so important, regardless of where you are in the economy. You are starting, you're in the middle, or you're at that stage where you're thinking, oh snap, this thing doesn't work. I think reading such reports gives you enough insights where you can also just look at where the opportunities lie within our ecosystems. There's so much opportunity. I mean, I'm looking at some of the supplier growth conferences that are currently taking place. There's a gap where you're a small business owner and you can't participate because you don't have the right capacity. Bagolo, it's been a great show. We absolutely appreciate you tuning in. And we can talk all we want, but these things are about taking action. A year ago, I didn't know anything about radio, and over 155 episodes later, here I am, still trying to improve and perfect this craft every other day. And that's what entrepreneurship is about. If you think about it at the most basic level, it's about getting up and just getting it done. Get the job done every day and rinse, repeat, and keep improving, like small incremental improvements, on this show, we talk about the 3-food framework, and the 3-food keep pizza ele with 3 legs, right? If one of those legs go wobbly, sishebo falls over and nobody gets to eat. So, that's customers, that's cash flow, that's compliance. We're quite obsessed about these 3 things. And I think if we can keep it that simple for ourselves, it helps us to really think about what is important, what matters. If I want to do business with corporate, I must always know that being compliant is very important. Part of compliance is how you manage yourself. How you manage your personal affairs. What does your digital footprint look like? Are you the type of person who's just going to post nonsense and political opinions that are divisive? That can get you cut out of trade, right? What does your CIPC look like? Is your name full of next to many deregistered companies? You get judged on that. What do you look like on TransUnion and Experian? Think about these little things. They impact you in a big way. We've seen entrepreneurs who tweeted something back in 2013 and it comes back to bite them and they lose massive contracts. It's absolutely not necessary. I'm saying do the work and do it right, Ra leboga, and we trust that you'll be joining us again on Monday. And we absolutely appreciate the fact that we had our guest in studio today who helped us to kickstart a new series just around SMME development and ESD, and to really unpack the space and help you understand what does this mean and where are the opportunities. If it's related to finance and funding, what do I need and how do I need to go about? Because it's less about the information and more about what types of action do I need to take, the incremental actions. And we're really just trying to make sure that we unpack that with the right people in studio. Thank you so much. Ra leboga. Modimo le tlhonolofatse. We'll be back on Monday.